I'm Dr. Robin Michael Garcia. I am currently an assistant professor at the Political Economy program of the University of Asia Pacific under the School of Social Sciences, Law and Governance. What I want to talk about today really is the discipline of political science and how it can help make sense of the elections that we just concluded in May of this year. Of course, we know that the elections has been fraught with a lot of disagreements. Society was polarized. Eventually, we saw the results to be something that not a lot of people expected. But if we took a look at the data a little bit closer, we would have expected the results in favor of the current president, President Bongbong Marcos. And of course, it was very difficult for a lot of people to accept the results because the supporters of Vice President Leni Robredo was vigorous, and there were a lot of very lively and dynamic outpouring of support during the campaign. So the question and the puzzle to many is, why did Vice President Leni lose, and why Bongbong Marcos won the presidency? We have to go back and look at the premises, the antecedent events that led to this. And there are, I think, at least two important events. One, the opposition has lost three consecutive electoral cycles. In 2016, Mar Rojas lost to Rodrigo Duterte. In 2019, not a single opposition candidate won in the midterms during the senatorial campaign. And in this year, 2022, just one opposition aligned senator won, Senator Rizzo Ontiveros, and Vice President Leni Robredo lost. So that's one of the important antecedent events or conditions that laid the groundwork for analyzing the outcome of the 2022 elections. The second event or antecedent condition is actually the victory of Rodrigo Duterte in 2016. The reason why that's important is because we can already see the weakness of the opposition narrative and the strength of an alternative narrative to the dominant narrative that has dominated the Philippine politics for the last 3 years, right? So you've seen from the EDSA revolution of 1986 up until 2016, the decades that followed really was a regime where you saw the dominance of political democracy and reform narratives in Philippine politics. So the fact that the opposition has lost three times since 2016, and the fact that Rodrigo Duterte won by a landslide, meant that there was a discontinuity in the dominant regime that has dominated since 1986, since the 1986 revolution. What we can glean from this is Philippine politics and society and politics in general, not just in the Philippines, can be analyzed as a cycle and the rise and fall of dominant political ideas such as communism, fascism, populism, capitalism, and democracy. These are all political ideas. And at any given point in time, certain political ideas become dominant over other ideas, which are, equally powerful ideas, but that some ideas' time has already come and has replaced old ideas. But you can also see old ideas come back into to replace dominant ideas. That's something that we can see in the Philippines. Obviously, the return of Marcosian ideals is something that we saw in 2022. In 2010 and 2016, those elections were both change elections, meaning the dominant idea for people was that they wanted to change society, right? Very generally. So 2010, they wanted to change President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo in favor of President Noynoy Aquino. And so they elected someone with the Aquino name. Now in 2016, ironically, it was also a change election. You saw the election of Rodrigo Duterte, which was really a clean break from the Aquino regime and the Aquino narrative. Of course, President Duterte represented alternative ideals, strongman leadership, autocratic tendencies, non respect for human rights. Obviously, he ran using the campaign of anti drugs. Obviously, that has ended brutally. He did not end the drug problem in 3 to 6 months, but he did deliver his promise that he would use violent means. So that was a clean break from the Aquino administration or in the last few decades of political democracy and reform, that narrative.